We are a proud liberal democracy. We believe in a world order that favours freedom and that supports the dignity and free expression of all people. We believe in human rights, in gender equality and the rule of law, and we back that up with how we pursue these things in our own country, in our own society, and how we raise our own children. Australia was one of 8 countries only involved in the drafting of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and we continue to strengthen the international human rights system. And we will continue to raise our voice on important issues like the rights of women and girls, the rights of Indigenous peoples, because respecting the rights and freedoms of the individual is intrinsically important. It is fundamental to our values as a people and as a nation. It lifts all societies and nations too, delivering better outcomes through economic inclusion. So if you get vaccinated, there will be special rules that apply to you. Women's empowerment, environmental sustainability, rising living standards, and so much more. Australians' actions are guided by our belief in the inherent dignity of all people, everywhere, no matter the circumstances. Mr. President, we learned through the pandemic that every moment of challenge requires us to think anew, to engage with each other, to learn as you go. It is an experience understood by many others. And so we will continue to meet this moment with dialogue. Thank you, Mr. President.
Boom, sugar-lucker, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy, Chris Shule, aka the Esoteric Noetic, aka the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother from Ghana, West Africa, dropping the wisdomatic truth bombs here in Melbourne, Australia, homeland of the New World Order, mate, where we are all on team meh. We all believe in human rights, individual rights and liberty, and we also believe in forcing people to stay in their homes and undergoing boom shakalakkas for the safety of everyone, because we're very consistent, like our leader, Scott Morrison. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mom, drop some comments, let us know what it is. Let's get it. What an amazing video by the deactivist that we just saw. It illustrates brilliantly the hypocrisy of the Australian government. Picture tells 1,000 words, right? Well, a video is even better. The funny thing is there are so many people that are watching the mainstream media and buy into the narrative that Scott Morrison is putting out there because they just don't see what's going on. The mainstream media here in Australia is not reporting the protests, and when they are, they're giving a very obfuscated perspective of what is going on. And therefore, we have a very obfuscated narrative that is being projected to the world. But here's the thing. Let me break it down for you. In Australia, mate, we are living in a society where, on one hand, Scott Morrison, leaders like Gladys Berejiklian, Brett Sutton, these people that somehow have forgotten what it means to actually value human rights and liberty, they are advocating for people to stay locked down in their homes, advocating that unless, of course, you comply with certain mandates, like taking a boom shakalaka, you will be restricted from participating in the economy, essentially violating people's unalienable individual rights. They are also preventing people from protesting. These are things that are protected under Article 21 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But then here we have Scott Morrison openly saying that he champions human rights here in Australia, somehow forgetting that his administration is behind punishing people for protesting, punishing people for not complying with restrictions that are violating their very human rights. So it seems like hypocrisy is the name of the game here in Australia, mate. And what's even crazier is it's just getting more and more intense. Over the last couple of weeks, we have seen construction workers protesting on the streets in tremendous numbers. Thousands. Of course, this is not being reported on the mainstream news. We have seen protests not only in the city, but in St. Kilda. It's like our second city here in Melbourne. This is something that is not being covered, but more disappointingly, the narrative has been expressed that the police officers that are actually attacking 7-year-old women, the police officers that are indiscriminately attacking people that seem like construction workers on site are the good guys. And those that are actually protesting at the Shrine of Remembrance, one of the most sacred places in Melbourne, Australia, that represents what our Anzacs fought for, our freedoms. These are the people that are at war with the values of Australia. It's interesting how inverted the mainstream truth is. And then recently, we are seeing businesses that have been essentially coerced by the government to apply mandates where citizens will not be allowed into these businesses unless, of course, they have undertaken the boom shakalaka.
Retail giant Best & Less is the latest to announce only fully vaccinated staff and customers will be permitted into their New South Wales stores when the state reopens following months of lockdown.
And they won't be alone, with the New South Wales government outlining a plan indicating all non-essential stores must follow these same rules once the state reaches that 70% fully vaccinated threshold. And they won't be alone, with the New South Wales government outlining a plan indicating all non-essential stores must follow these same rules once the state reaches that 70% fully vaccinated threshold.
There's been some concern about particularly the young people that work in retail that they're going to cop abuse because they have to police this.
Look, this is the reality. So we are concerned as well about the elevated level of customer aggression. But this is no different to what we've had to deal with through the entire pandemic, when mandatory masks first came in place, then mandatory QR codes came in place, and of course there's been social distancing requirements and sanitising requirements. So we are, unfortunately, this is the new normal in a retail environment, and we're getting better at actually managing those situations. Now, in saying that, we obviously are looking to New South Wales government to provide us with greater support from a law enforcement perspective, because it will not be the responsibility of frontline staff to enforce the law, of course. So, we're hoping that we're all in this together, of course.
Even though mandating this thing is unlawful, illegal, even though the High Court ruled that mandatory vaccines are a no-go, we have the government advocating for this kind of stuff. And because it seems a lot of Australians are not aware of their rights and are just willing to go along with this because this is what we're seeing. But I want to remind every single person watching this that, one, what we're seeing is not only immoral, but it is actually illegal, and you have every right to not only challenge these things, to challenge these things in the court of law if you are denied access to these organizations. Legally speaking, you have every right to challenge this within the current system. Now, personally, I feel that there are better ways of dealing with this. I don't advocate for people using the government, for that matter, to challenge denial of access into businesses, fundamentally because, look, if some douchebag wants to discriminate against me based on my medical status, they have every lawful right to do that. Granted, it may be illegal under the current system, But there are other ways to deal with the problem. And one of those things is to boycott these businesses. Don't shop at their stores. Use your influence, the influence of your family, your friends, your social media influence to call them out, to incite other people not to shop in these businesses. This is how we change things. But if we're constantly calling for daddy government to protect us from discrimination, we're only going to make the problem worse. And also, it's well worth reminding yourself that there are always exemptions. You can get yourself a medical exemption, like yours truly. I mean, I happen to be asthmatic. And you can find other ways to circumvent these disgusting mandates. But you know what? I actually smile at some of the things that we're seeing now, because it's exposing the very core of what is going on. And as I often say, you cannot hide the sun, the moon, and the truth for long. People around the world are seeing what is going on in Australia. People around the world are seeing the hypocrisy of these governments. And I think it's about time that Australia went through a revolution, because in our history, we are young people, and it often takes adversity in order to rise to higher levels of freedom and truth. In the same way that we get wine from crushing grapes, in the same way that seeds grow in darkness, and in the same way that olives release oil by being pressed, we need to go through adversity. We need to go through challenge. There needs to be a transmutation through adversity. And Australia is very much going through its dark night of the soul. Collectively, we are experiencing a revolution at the moment. There are more and more people waking up to what is going on. And the whole world is seeing the insanity that is taking place in this country. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think about what is going on in Australia, mate. Where do you see this country going? Be sure to check out the Telegram group. Be sure to tell your friends, tell your mom, drop some comments. Some more support wisdomatic truth bombers like the Deactivists, like the Chocolate Nubian. Check us out on social media. Drop us some cryptocurrencies. Peace out, keep it real, tell your mom, tell your friends. And remember to illuminate your minds with wisdom, strengthen your will with love, purge all negative thought patterns from your existence. Remember that you cannot hide three things for long: the sun, the moon, and the wisdomatic truth bombs of the Chocolate Nubian soul brother. Peace be upon your butt cheeks. Peace in the Middle East. Kisses, hugs, and belly rubs. Yours truly, the Chocolate Nubian soul brother, Chris Shule. Mwah.
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.